Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session. In this session of revision class, we are going to look into the first module. First module consists of DC circuits and AC fundamentals. In case of a DC circuit, first thing we are going to learn is the Ohm's law. What is the Ohm's law? You have to if this question is asked in the exam, you have to tell Ohm's law. It provides the relationship between the voltage, current and resistance, and it states that at constant temperature, that is very important. Whenever you state the Ohm's law, it is valid only at the constant temperature. It states that at constant temperature, the current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to the voltage between the two ends of the conductor. Very important is the current flowing through the conductor is directly proportional to the voltage, not the other way. So in exam I have seen like many people they reverse this order. Remember, at constant temperature, the current flowing is directly proportional to the whatever the voltage applied across that conductor. Even though we write it as I proportional to V or V proportional to I. Don't write the statement based on V proportional to I. You have to remember I proportional to V. Just you remember this I proportional to V means the current flowing in the conductor is directly proportional to the voltage across its ends. That is the Ohm's law. Then write this equation. V is equal to IR. State what are V, I and R are, and draw a simple circuit diagram and write this relationship, and graphical representation if you want to show the slope. Okay, this is voltage and this is the current, and if we at different voltages, if we find the current and if we plot, we will get a straight line like this, and slope of the straight line is nothing but the resistance. And limitations, you can refer to any book for the limitation. The first and the foremost limitation is what? The Ohm's law holds good only at a constant temperature. If the temperature is changing, then the Ohm's law doesn't hold good. Ohm's law is it can be only applied for the conductors. It cannot be applied for the semiconductors or the thyristors, other kind of semiconductor devices. It cannot be applied. So these are the some of the limitations of the Ohm's law. Electric power, definition of the electric power you have to remember, and you have to remember what is the equation for the electric power. So power is equal to what? Voltage into current. That is the P is equal to VI. What is the statement of the power? The rate at which the work is done in electric circuit is called its power. So rate at the which the work is done is decided by the power. For example, I always give this example. If you ask a human to dig a hole, then you ask the machine to do it. Machine has more power. Okay, the same hole can be created by that particular machine in very, if human takes 1 hour, maybe that machine will do it in 10 minutes, same amount of work. The why machine is able to do the work quickly? Because it has higher power, right? If you have higher power, more power, the rate at which you do the work is faster. Okay, that is why, what is electric power? The rate at which the work is done in an electrical circuit is called as a electric power. And what kind of a work you do in an electrical circuit? In electrical circuit, we have to move around the electrons. That is the work that is done. Therefore electric power is equal to work done in electric circuit divided by time. That this small derivation is there. This is a resistor, voltage across that resistor, current flowing is I, R is the resistance value, and with this definition, what is power? Work done in an electric circuit divided by time. That is P is equal to work divided by time. Okay, T. And we know that electric potential. Okay, what is the electric potential? It is work divided by the charge, and work is equal to V into electric charge. And we know that what is the current? The current is the rate of flow of electric charges or the electrons. I is equal to Q divided by T. Therefore, Q is equal to I into T. So Q I am going to substitute in this equation. What I will get, work is equal to V into I into T. So if I substitute in this particular equation, work is what? VIT divided by T. T will get cancelled. What remains? V into I. So remember, in case of a DC circuit, the power is equal to multiplication of product of voltage and the current flowing here. And we know the Ohm's law. Ohm's law is what? V is equal to IR. V can be represented in terms of I and R. So V is equal to IR. If I replace this V, it will become I square R. So P can be represented in different forms. One is P is equal to VI. If I substitute V in terms of I and R, I get P is equal to I square R. If I represent I in terms of V, that is I is equal to V by R, we get it as P is equal to V square by R. And power is represented in watts. That is the unit. Then what is the electrical energy? Electrical power is rate of doing work, and electrical energy total work done. Total work done in an electrical circuit is called as a electrical energy. How to find the total work done? Power into time. Means the machine, it took 10 minutes. So how much energy it utilized? The power into the 10 minutes time. So electrical energy is equal to electric power into time. That is the energy. And electrical power, we know that it is V into I multiplied by T. So the energy consumed represented in kilowatt hour, kWh, or watt hour. So it depends on what unit you have. For household connections, what they have as a unit, it is nothing but a kilowatt hour. Okay, either you can represent it as a kilowatt hour or watt hour or watt second, whichever unit you can want, you can represent, but the most used unit is kilowatt hour. VIT is the energy, and we know power can be represented as I square R into T, V square by R into T. So what is the energy? How to understand the energy consumed in your house? Let us say you have a TV which consumes like 500 watt. If you watch that TV for 1 hour, how much energy is consumed by that TV is 500 watt hour. 500 watt into 1 hour, that is 500 watt hour energy is consumed. Similarly, you can calculate all the your household loads, that is fans, electrical bulbs, then washing machine, everything, as long as they are turned on, multiplied by the time. Okay, that is the total energy consumed by them. Here is a simple example. Resistor of 15 ohm has a potential difference of 100 volt, DC across it for 1 hour. Calculate power and energy. So power is, we know, V square by R, because voltage is given and the resistance is given. Okay, V is given and R is given. V square by R, we get it as 200 watt. And what would be the energy for 1 hour? Power into that time. So here power is time is represented as a seconds. Okay, so energy is represented in terms of a joules, because it is a watt second or joules. Similar problems we can solve. Okay, we will not go through all the problems. Okay. This problem we can take simple problem. How many kilowatts will be required to light a factory in which 250 lamps, each taking 1.3 amperes at 230 volt, are used? So here you have to calculate what is the, how many kilowatts means how much power is required. Kilowatt is unit of power. How much power is required to light 250 lamps, and each, they have given the specification, each takes 1.3 ampere at 230 volt. So what is the power consumed in one lamp? P is equal to VI, that is 230 into 1.3, we get it as 299 watt or 0.299 kilowatt. This is the power taken by one lamp. How many lamps we have? 250 lamps. What would be the total power that would be taken? 250 into power consumed by one lamp. That is 250 into 0.299. We get it as 74.75 kilowatt power is required to light a 250 lamps. Now, what is a DC circuit? A simple DC circuit, we will have a load. The load could be anything, bulb, fan, or anything. In case of a DC circuit, basically it will act as a resistor and it is connected to a DC source. In case of a direct current, there is a definite direction for the flow of the electric current. The electric conventional direction of the current will flow from the positive plate to through the load back to the negative plate. So if we know the which is the positive plate and negative plate, the direction of the current would be starting from the positive plate through the circuit back to the negative plate. Okay. One second. Okay, so that is how the current will flow, and these loads can be connected in three fashions, either as a series or a parallel or a series parallel combination, whichever way we want, we can connect. So if we connect the resistors in series, okay, if we connect the resistor end to end, okay, that is we call that as a series circuit. The DC circuit in which resistance are connected end to end so that there is only one path for the current to flow is called as a DC series circuit. So how series circuit, how to identify a series circuit? If resistors are connected end to end, means one end is connected to another end, this end is connected to the other end of the resistor, making only one path. The easiest way to understand whether two resistors are in series or not, by knowing what is the current that is flowing. If there is only one path for the current, that means those resistors are connected in series. If there are multiple paths, means that those resistors are connected in parallel, or it could be connected in any complicated fashion. In this example, we have three resistor R1, R2, R3. They are connected in series. What And they are connected across the voltage, DC voltage source having a voltage of V. This voltage V will get dropped across each of these resistors. Suppose if you have 100 volt here, out of 100 volt, some 50 will get dropped here, 30 will get dropped here, and 20 volts will get dropped here. How much voltage will drop? It depends on how much resistance is there. If the resistance is higher, then the voltage drop is also higher. Now, therefore, V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. That is what we are going to see here. The applied voltage is equal to sum of the individual voltage drops, and we can apply the Ohm's law for each of these resistors. The current that is flowing through all these resistors is I, because the same current, there is only one path, the same current I will flow through all the resistors. And this resistor has a voltage, this resistor has a resistance of R1. So the voltage dropped across this is V1 into I into R1, V1 into I into R1, V2 is equal to I into R2, V3 is equal to I into R3. Then we are going to substitute those values here. What we get? V is equal to I R1 plus I R2, so on. We take the I out, therefore V by I is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Now, if I take a resistance Rs and apply the same voltage, the value of this resistance is such that the same amount of current will flow. Suppose if I connected this 100 volt and 5 amperes is flowing, I will select a resistor such that if I connect it to the 5 volt, 5 amperes current is flowing. Then we call this Rs as the equivalent resistance of those three resistors. Okay, so this in this circuit, I can apply the Ohm's law. V is equal to I into Rs. V by I is equal to Rs. Now, from these two equations, equation 1 and equation 2, we can say V by I is equal to V by I is equal to Rs is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Meaning is what? If resistors are connected in series, then equivalent resistance of those combination is sum of the all the resistances. These are the main characteristics of a series circuit. The current in each resistor is the same, okay, because there is only one path, so current is the same. Total resistance in the circuit is equal to sum of the individual resistances. Okay, if I connected 10 ohm, 20 ohm and 30 ohm, what would be the equivalent resistance? It would be 10 plus 20 plus 30, that is 60 ohm is the equivalent resistance. And as far as the power concerned, the total power dissipated in the circuit is equal to sum of the power that dissipated in the individual resistances. So how much power is consumed in this particular circuit? It is equal to sum of power consumed in R1, power consumed in R2, power consumed in R3. And what is the power consumed in R1? Either you can say I square R1 or I into V1 or V1 square by R1. Okay, so that is the sum. The same thing is written here. So Rs is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. We already know that. If I multiply both the sides by I square, that is I square Rs is equal to I square R1 plus I square R2 plus I square R3. And what is I square Rs? It is the equivalent resistance. That means this is the total power dissipated in the circuit is equal to power dissipated in the resistor R1 plus power dissipated in the resistor R2 plus power dissipated in the resistor R3. And next characteristic, the voltage of the circuit is equal to sum of the voltages across each resistor. If I multiply this with I into Rs, I into R1, I into R2 plus I into R3. And we already know I into R is what? Voltage. V is equal to IR, that is Ohm's law. So I into Rs is what? Total applied voltage is equal to I into R1 is the voltage across the resistor 1, resistor 2 and resistor 3. Any open circuit causes the circuit to be dead or current flowing will be zero. Means if there is any, if the circuit opens anywhere, there is no path for the current to flow, the circuit will become dead or the current will become zero. We have one example, we'll solve this example. We have two lamps here, A and B. Lamp A takes 0.8 amperes current and this one takes 0.9 amperes. They are connected across 110 volt supply. Okay, both are connected across 10 and calculate the value of the current when they are connected in series across 220 volt supply. Assuming the filament resistance remains unaltered, also find the voltage across each lamp. So we have two lamps. If it is lamp A is connected to 110 volt supply, it takes 0.8 amperes. B takes 0.9 amperes. Now, what we have to find is if they are connected in series and across 220 volt supply, what is the current it will draw? That is the question. So first we have to find the resistance. I told you the only type of a load is a resistance, whether it is a lamp or a fan or anything, it is represented by a resistance. So this resistor is connected across 110 volt and the current is 0.8 amperes. We know V and we know I. We can calculate R. Okay, RA is equal to VA by IA, 110 by 0.8. We get it as the resistance of lamp A is 137.5. And similarly, we can calculate the resistance of the lamp B, which comes as 122.2 ohms. Now, the second scenario, we are connecting them series. 137.5 is connected in series with 122.2 ohm resistance and both are connected across 220 volt. Now we know the circuit resistance. What is the equivalent resistance? This plus this, right? That we get it as 259.7 by adding these two resistances. I know resistance, I know voltage, I can find current, right? Therefore, I is equal to V by Rs, that is 220 divided by 259.7. We get it as 0.847, 0.847 amperes. Now, once we know the current, what would be the voltage drop here? V is equal to IR. So, voltage here is this resistance into this current. Okay, so voltage across the lamp A, VA is equal to I into RA, 0.847 into 137.5. We get it as 116.5. And what would be the voltage across B? Same, I into RB. Whatever the current flowing I into RB, we get it as 103.5. So there are two ways to calculate. Once you find this voltage, you can also calculate it by VB can be calculated by V minus VA, because V is equal to VA plus VB. You can use either that or you can use this one. Okay, this is a similar kind of a problem. Here you get a quadratic equation. You have to solve the quadratic equation. This is also on the similar line. Okay, we'll see this problem. Here, what is the voltage drop across the 150 ohm resistor? So we have to find voltage drop across 150 ohm resistor in this below circuit. They have given all the resistances. This is 47 ohm, 150 ohm, and this is 15 volt, and this is 22 volt. This is little confusing because there are two voltage sources, but don't get confused by that. If you check the characteristic, okay, these two, it feels like they are connected in parallel. No, they are connected in series. If you see the current, there is only one path for the current. Whatever current flows in 47 ohm, same current will flow in 150 also. That's why they are in series. Therefore the effective resistance is 150 plus 47, that is 197 as far as the voltage is concerned. So this is 22 volt and this is 15 volt. This voltage source will try to push the current in this direction, and 15 volt, this is trying to push the current in opposite direction, means they are cancelling each other. So therefore what would be the effective voltage? Effective voltage will be 22 minus 15. That is, this circuit will act like a this battery will act like a, instead of these two, it will be like a 7 volt. 22 minus 15, that's 7 volt. This is how the circuit diagram looks like, right? Once you know the resistance and the voltage, you can easily calculate the current. Resistance is 197 ohm, voltage is 7 volt. Therefore current is I is equal to V by RS. This is the total current. Once you know the current, the same amount of current will flow. So what is the voltage across this? Current into resistance, that is I into 150. We get it as V1, as this V1 voltage as 5.325 volts. Now, parallel circuit. How to know the resistors are connected in parallel? I told you the simple method is, if the current has a multiple paths to flow. Okay, that is one thing. And the second thing, the both the ends of the resistor should be connected between two common points. So you can see here common point, a node, and this is common node. And each of these resistors R1, R2, R3, they are connected between this point and this point, right? So the current will come here. Now it has three paths. Either it can go this way, and this way. So current will flow in all the paths. And how much current will flow? It depends on how much resistance is offered by that particular path. As we know, where the current will flow more, where the resistance is less. If R1 resistance is less, more current will flow here. If R1 resistance is more, then less current will flow here. But whatever is the total current will be equal to all these branch currents. Sum of all these branch currents means what? I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Now, in this particular circuit, we have a V voltage applied across parallel combination of R1, R2, R3, which will result in a current of I. When current I here, it will get divided into each path as I1, I2, and I3. Okay. So therefore, in case of a parallel circuit, the total current is equal to sum of the branch currents. That is, I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. And one more important thing to note here, the voltage source is connected between this point and this point. So this is voltage source and this is the voltage source. That means the voltage across R1, R2, and R3 is exactly the same. That is V. You have to remember, in series, the current flowing through all the resistor is same. In case of a parallel, the voltage applied across each of the resistor is same. Therefore, I can write V is equal to I1 R1, V is equal to I2 R2, V is equal to I3 R3. And if we write that, substitute in this, I get I is equal to I1 is nothing but V by R1, V by R1 plus V by R2 plus V by R3. And what is I? It is nothing but the total current that is flowing. I can take the common V outside. Therefore, I divided by V is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Now, what is this? Suppose if I have a same concept. If I have 100 volt, it results in 5 amperes. Similarly, I choose RP in such a way that if I apply 100 volt, it will result in 5 amperes. Then we call this as a equivalent resistance. Now, if I apply Ohm's law, V is equal to I into RP, or 1 by RP is equal to I by V. Comparing these two equations, what I get? 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Suppose if R1, R2, R3 are connected in parallel, the equivalent resistance of the circuit is calculated using this formula. You have to remember it is the reciprocal of equivalent resistance. So the reciprocal of the equivalent resistance is equal to sum of the reciprocal resistance of the each branch. Okay, that's why 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. In the exam, you have to be very careful. Many a times I have seen like they start with 1 by Rp, okay, mostly for the problems. Then on the right hand side, they will calculate. At the end, what they will do, instead of saying 1 by Rp is equal to whatever the numeric value, they will say Rp is equal to numeric value. That is wrong. You have to remember it is 1 by Rp. And what are the main features or the characteristic of the parallel circuit? Voltage across each resistor is same. Okay, that we already saw. Current through any resistor is inversely proportional to its resistance. Meaning what? If resistance is more, current is less. If resistance is less, current flowing that in that branch is more. The total current in the circuit is equal to the sum of the all the branch currents. The reciprocal of the total resistance, that is 1 by Rp, is equal to the sum of the reciprocals of the individual resistances that we saw in the equation. As the number of parallel branches is increased, the total resistance of the circuit is decreased. So if you keep on increasing the putting more resistors in the circuit in parallel, actually effective resistance will decrease. The total resistance of the circuit is always less than the smallest resistances. So this you can use it for the verification purpose. Whatever the suppose you have 5 ohm, 10 ohm and 2 ohm connected in parallel. Without doing any calculation, you can tell the resistance, equivalent resistance should be less than 2 ohm. Why less than 2 ohm? The smallest of the resistance, the equivalent resistance would be lesser than the smallest of the resistances. If n resistors, each of resistance R are connected in parallel, then total resistance is Rp is equal to R by N. Suppose you have, let us say, 3 resistor of 3 ohm connected in parallel, 3 ohm, 3 ohm, 3 ohm connected in parallel. You can directly calculate using this formula. Rp is equal to 3 ohm divided by number of resistors, that is 3. 3 by 3 is equal to 1 ohm. So equivalent resistance would be 1 ohm. The conductances are additive. Okay, the total power dissipated in the circuit is equal to the sum of the powers dissipated in the individual resistance. Similar to the DC series circuit, total power dissipated in the circuit is equal to sum of the powers dissipated in the individual resistances. How to prove that? 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. This already we know. If we multiply both the sides by V square, V square by Rp, V square by R1 plus V square by R2 plus V square by R3. This is V square by Rp is nothing but the total power. This is the power consumed in the resistance 1, power consumed in the resistance 2, power consumed in the resistance 3. Therefore, total power is equal to P1 plus P2 plus P3. We have a simple problem. You can work out this problem. Two resistors are connected in parallel. Okay, two coils connected in series have a resistance of 16 ohm, 18 ohm, and when connected in parallel, they have a resistance of 4 ohm. So if they are connected in like this, that means what? R1 plus R2 is equal to 18, and when they are connected in parallel, their resistance is 4 ohm. That means 1 by 4 is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. Now you have this one equation, and this is the second equation. Two equations and two unknowns. You will get a quadratic equation, and you can solve this particular problem. And in the solution, if you get negative value, you should not choose that value. You should choose the positive value, because the resistance cannot be negative. Now this is another question. Here problem, we have to find the effective resistance of this circuit. What you can do is, this is the parallel combination. Reduce this one first. So the resistance, equivalent resistance of this 1 by, let us say this as RAB. 1 by RAB is equal to 1 by 2 plus 1 by 5 plus 1 by 10, and you can find the RAB. This is also parallel combination. This 1 upon RBC is equal to 1 upon 6 plus 1 upon 4. Calculate the resistance. You got one equivalent resistance here, one equivalent resistance. Now you can see this equivalent resistance, this equivalent resistance, and this resistance, they are in parallel. So parallel means add this value plus this, that is RAB plus RBC plus 1.35. Then you have one more like equivalent resistance that is connected in parallel with 5 ohm. Okay, so then equivalent 1 by RP is equal to 1 by 5 plus 1 by this value. This will also come as 5 ohm, I guess. So RAB is 1.25, RBC is 2.4, and RCD we already know 1.35. We get it as 5 ohm. Now equivalent, what happens? 5 ohm is connected in parallel with 5 ohm. This is another circuit. Just this is a very simple circuit. So here it looks like a complicated circuit. It is not. So only thing is, if you closely observe, this is the one end of the resistor, this is one end of the resistor, and this is one end of the resistor. All are connected. This is all same common point that is connected to a resistor. And if you see the other end, this other end is here, other end of this resistor is here, and this wire means this potential and this potential are same. So this is nothing but the same point. This is actually other end of the resistor. Effectively these three are in parallel. So this is how it will look like. This is node A and this is node BC. So once you know they are in parallel, you can apply the formula 1 by RP is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 and find out the values, find out the whatever is the unknown that is asked. This is another circuit. This is from one of the examination questions. I have given the answer here. Try to solve and try to match with these answers. If you are not able to do, let me know. We can solve it. Then next is the complex circuits. So far what we saw is a all simple circuits. Simple circuit is meaning what? We looking at the circuit, we can tell it is connected in series and it is connected in parallel. Series parallel combination we can easily identify. But in real world circuits, the circuits are very complex. You will not understand whether they are really connected in series or parallel. There will be usage of multiple EMF sources and a different style of connection. So that makes the circuit complex, and there we cannot apply the Ohm's law. To solve the complex circuits, we have to apply the laws given by the Kirchhoff law. So there are two Kirchhoff's laws are there: Kirchhoff's current law and voltage law. In case of a Kirchhoff's current law, if you consider any electrical node, the sum of the incoming currents, okay, sum of the incoming currents is equal to sum of the outgoing currents. So first you have to give the statement: the algebraic sum of the currents entering a node is equal to the algebraic sum of the currents leaving the electrical node. Or other definition, choose only one of them, whichever is easy for you. The algebraic sum of the currents meeting at a junction or a node is in a circuit is equal to 0. Then write this circuit diagram. Most important, write this equation. at node A, this is sigma, that is a sum of incoming currents is equal to sum of outgoing currents. In this example, what are the incoming currents? I1 and I3. I1 plus I3 is equal to I2 plus I4. Or if you take this on the other side, I1 plus I3 minus I2 minus I4 is equal to 0, which is same as this statement. Then Kirchhoff's voltage law. Kirchhoff's voltage law states, in any closed electrical circuit or a mesh, the algebraic sum of all the EMFs and voltage drops in resistors is equal to 0. Okay, so that is the Kirchhoff's voltage law. Algebraic sum of all the EMFs plus algebraic sum of all the voltage drops is equal to 0. That is sigma EMF plus sigma voltage drop is equal to 0. We will apply to a circuit, then we will understand. Memorize this statement. In a closed electrical circuit or a mesh, the algebraic sum of all the EMF, electromotive force, and voltage drops. What is voltage drop? V into I is called as a sorry, I into R is the voltage drop. Current into resistance is the voltage drop. All I into R sum plus all the EMF sources sum, that will be equal to 0. Okay, in the exam you have to write this statement, write this statement, then write this equation, and also you have to draw a circuit diagram, and you have to show that apply the Ohm's law, and you have to show that what equation you get. For example, here we have taken a simple circuit and we have applied the KVL, and before applying the KVL, there is certain convention to be followed. First, we'll understand the convention, and then we'll go to the circuit diagram. Whenever the sign convention for the EMF, how to take the EMF value? If we are tracing the circuit, okay, we are tracing the circuit, and while tracing the circuit, we come across the positive plate of the voltage source. We take that voltage as a plus. Suppose this is a 10 volts voltage source. If I'm coming, the direction of tracing is like this, then I will take it as plus 10. Suppose my direction of tracing is like this, I come across the negative plate, I will take that as minus 10 or minus V. And for the voltage drops, if the direction of the current that is flowing in the resistor is same as the direction of tracing, then we take that voltage drop as plus IR. If the direction of the current and the direction of the tracing both are opposite, then we take it as a minus IR. Okay, we'll solve the problem, then you will clearly understand what I mean. Now for this simple circuit, okay, I have taken the direction of tracing. So always we take it as a clockwise. So this is the clockwise direction of tracing, and we apply the Ohm's law. So already voltage, current, resistance are already marked. Mark the nodes, all the nodes A, B, C, D. Mark the nodes and apply the Ohm's law. Apply the KVL to the loop A, B, C, D, A. So you start from A here, you come across the resistor. So I will have a voltage drop. The direction of tracing is like this. Current direction is also like that. So I take this voltage drop as plus I into R1. Then we go to the next register. The current, direction of the current, direction of the tracing, both are same. I will take voltage drop as plus I into R2, plus I into R2. Then I come across here, I come across the negative plate. Therefore, minus V is equal to 0, or I R1 plus I R2 is equal to V. So we know that applied voltage V will get dropped across this and this. So that is in line with that understanding. Okay, we take a this is a very simple circuit. We need not apply the KVL, but using KVL we can solve it. So first thing what you have to do in the exam, they might give the current notations, whether I1, I2, I3, or they may not give. If they don't give, first thing what you are going to do is you will mark the all the currents. In this case, there is only one path. So this current will flow like this, and this current will flow like this. So I will take this will be the actual direction of the current. And even if you take the opposite direction, no problem. Mark the current. Once you mark the current, mark the direction of tracing. then mark all the nodes. I have marked as A, B, C, D, A. Now I'm going to apply the KVL to A, B, C, D, and A. So if I apply the KVL, I will start from node A, and current is flowing like this, isn't it? So this voltage drop is 2 into I. So plus, because direction of the current and direction of the tracing is same, plus 2 into I come across the positive plate, plus 10, 10. Then this direction of current and direction of tracing both are same, plus voltage drop, plus 5 into I, plus 5 into I, and we come back here, negative plate minus 30, and back to the same node equals to 0. If we solve this, we get it as I is equal to 20 by 7, 2.857. So if you solve using Ohm's law, we know they are connected in series. So effective resistance 2 plus 5, that is 7 is the resistance, and this are opposing. So 30 minus 10, that is 20. So what is the current? 7 ohm divided by 20 volt, that is 20 volt divided by 7, that is what we are getting here. Okay, this is one more problem. So here we let us not do like this. In the exam maximum you might get 2 loops like this. If they give the problem 2 loops, mark the current. If they are not marked, this is I1, this is the direction of tracing, and direction of tracing should be same in all the loops. Okay, don't change the direction of tracing. If you are using clockwise, you should use the clockwise for all the loops. If then mark all the currents. Here this is the current I1, and once it comes to the node, this node B, there are 2 paths. One is this direction, one is this direction. Mark this as I2. I2 will flow like this and it will come back here, and this is I3. And what comes back here is I1, I2, I2 plus I3 back to I1. Okay, either you can choose to have this as I3, or the other way to understand I3 is, what if I apply the KVL here? Okay, sorry, KCL. Sum of incoming currents is equal to sum of outgoing currents. Therefore, I1 is equal to I2 plus I3, or I3 is equal to I1 minus I2. Suppose 10 amperes is coming here, and let us say 8 amperes goes here. How much will remain here? 10 minus 8, that is 2 amperes. So we can write I3 as I1 minus I2. So instead of using one more variable I3, what you can do is you mark this current as I1 minus I2. So you will reduce one unknown. So we will not solve this one. Don't take it as I3, because in this particular notes it is I3. Let us see. Okay, let me see. Here also it is taken as I1, I2, I3, I4, I5. Don't take that. In this circuit, you have to take this as I1, this as I2. This is I1 minus I2. I1 minus I2 will come here. I3, I2 minus I3 is this current. So I will show that. Okay, the same problem I have solved here. I have taken like that. So here first mark all the nodes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Mark all the direction of tracing. Then mark the currents. So current, it I1 will come here. B, this is I2. How much will flow here? I1 minus I2. So this is I1 minus I2. I2 current will come here. So again there is a node, it will divide. Here I3 will go. How much will go here in this branch? I2 minus I3. That is how I have taken. And same, I2 minus I3 will come here. This current is I3, and this is I2 minus I3. When they combine, I2 minus I3 plus I3, it will become I2. Then here I1 minus I2 plus I2, I1 minus I2 plus I2 will cancel. I1 will remain, I1 current will come back. Now you can see there are 3 unknowns, 1, 2, 3. Apply KVL to 3 loops, and you will get the 3 equations. And then you can solve that. First we will apply the KVL to A, B, G, H, A. Okay, A, B, H, A. We start from A. Now we can see the direction of current is like this, and tracing is like this. Positive voltage drop, that is plus 3 I1. Then we come here. What is the current flowing? I1 minus I2. and this direction of tracing both are same. Voltage drop is 5 into I1 minus I2. 5 into I1 minus I2, that is plus, and we come back, negative plate minus 14, back to the point A is equal to 0. So this is the first equation you get. Second equation, you have to apply the KVL to B, C, F, G, B. Okay. You start from here. Now direction of the current is like this. Tracing is also like this. Plus 8I2, plus 8I2. Now when you come here, what is the current flowing here? I2 minus I3. Okay. And what is the resistance? 4. Direction of tracing and current are same. Plus 4 I2 minus I3. Plus 4 I2 minus I3. Now you come like this. Now you can see the tracing is opposite to the flow of the direction. So this voltage drop should be taken as minus 5 into current flowing is I1 minus I2. Minus 5 I1 minus I2. I come back to the node B and equals to 0. And if we simplify that one, we get the equation like minus 5I1 plus 17I2 minus 4I3. So this is first equation. Second equation. Third equation from this loop. Okay. Applying KVL to C, D, E, F, C. What I will get? You start from here. I came across the positive plate of the battery plus 5. Okay. If you see here, plus 5. Then you can see I'm going in the opposite direction to the current. So minus voltage drop. What is the resistance? 4 ohm. What is the current that is following? I2 minus I3. So minus 4 into I2 minus I3. Minus 4 into I2 minus I3 equal to 0. We come back to the original node, and this equation we get minus 4I2 plus 4I3 is equal to minus 5. So how many equations you have? 1, 2, and 3. If you make any kind of a mistake in getting the equations, your end result will be incorrect. Make sure that you pay all the attention to get these equations correctly. And once you get this equation, you can use any substitution method or Kramer's method to solve that, or you can directly put it in the calci. In your calci, you can directly solve these three equations for three unknowns. Okay. So this would be like A1, this is A1, B1, C1 is equal to D1, A2, B2, C2 is equal to D2. Similarly, this is A1, A2, A3 is equal to D3. Okay. These are the three equations using Kramer's rule. I have done using the Kramer's rule. If you are aware about the Kramer's rule, try to solve using that, or you can use the calci. Okay. I will include this in your classroom. You can go through that problem. Okay, this is the one you saw it in the question paper, one of the question paper, right? You saw this problem, not this. Okay. So this is the same problem that is solved. Okay, you can see this problem. Same problem. Here they have given. If you see read the problem. Find E1, E2 when when the power dissipated. We have to find E1, E2, and I. Okay, I is the current when power dissipated in 5 ohm resistor. Where is the 5 ohm resistor? Is 125 watt. So they have given how much power is dissipated here, 5 ohm, and how much current is flowing here. You can see this is I, and this is 2.5. So KCL, if you apply KCL, what would be the current here? This is the outgoing current, that would be equal to I plus 2.5. Therefore we can use the I square R. P is equal to I square R. That is I square is I plus 2.5 whole square into 5 is equal to 125 watt. That is what has been done here. So it is not scanned properly. P is equal to I square R. P is 125 watt, and the current that is flowing here. Okay, how much current is flowing here? This I plus 2.5, I plus 2.5, I plus 2.5 square into 5. And if you simplify that, we get I is equal to 2.5 amperes. And then apply the KVL and KCL, okay, to these two loops. Okay, this is the first loop, this is the second loop. And you will the unknown here is E1, because we already know the current. So we get the voltage as E2 is equal to 30 volt, E1 as 32.5. Okay, those are the problems. Okay, next is AC fundamentals. What we will do is, today already we have spent about 1.5 hours. Maybe we will take it tomorrow, I mean Monday. Again, Monday, please be prepared for 1.5 hour to 2 hours.